Herculez Gomez, the Liga MX Final is set. Rayados of Monterrey against Club America. Club America finishing 6th in the table in the regular season. Meanwhile, Rayados behind them in 8th. So it will indeed be Club America that gets to play the final leg at home. As we look at the odds to take the title, America installed as a slight betting favorite over Los Rayados of Monterrey. Herc, do you agree? Is Club America el favorito to win the trophy?
Seb, as much as it pains me to admit it to you, they are the favorites to win the Liga MX trophy for a lot of reasons. Not only because they were the better regular season team heading into Liga and because they get to close out in El Estadio Azteca, but if you look at Club Monterrey and their schedule, they're going to go play the Club World Cup. They'll play their first game on the 14th. They'll have a game every 3 days. They're going to shoot for the third place game. The semifinal is going to be difficult. They could face off against Liverpool. That's not going to be an easy task. It's going to be a great learning experience. But it's that third place game on the 21st. Okay? I've been to the Club World Cup with Pachuca, and I remember the 17 and a half hours it took us from Houston to get to Dubai. And then from Dubai, drive out to Abu Dhabi. It's a hell of a trip. It's a mind world. It's just you're emotionally spent and you're drained. I couldn't imagine then having to come back. And depending on how this tournament goes, because we're going, best case scenario, they get to the third place game and everybody in Mexico is happy. Let's say they lose the first game. Then they got to play the 5th or I believe it's the 7th place game, one of those 2 games. It could go really bad really quickly. Then they got to play against a Club America team who, by the way, is well rested. And if one thing Club America has had all year that's really ailed them, it's fitness. It's having players who are physically fit and able to be on the field. Miguel Herrera has done a miracle job with them in the regular season because the whole regular season, if you look at how many games they actually lost with that type of lineup he was touting out, I mean, he was debuting players left and right. He sold some of his best players. He was more criticized this season than he ever has been. To all of a sudden get another 10 to 15 days where you get to have, 17 days I should say, where you get to now have your best players fit. Nico Castillo hasn't really appeared in this Liga, and before he got injured, he was heating up at the right moment. Federico Viñas, out of nowhere, he's got 4 goals in 8 games, limited minutes, under 400 minutes. All of a sudden, you have your best players fit at the right time, and your opponent has to do a cross-global trip there and back, get back, and is emotionally spent and drained, and their best player in Liga, Johnson, is out injured, and he might not even play. Yeah, it's America. They're the favorites.
Who do you suppose faces more pressure in this moment? Rayados haven't won a title in almost a decade. America are the biggest team in Mexico. As Miguel Herrera tells us all the time, the expectation is not to get to Liga, it's to win it. So who then has more pressure?
It's Miguel Herrera without a doubt. Miguel Herrera said it. Listen, we're not fighting to get to Liga because if we don't get to Liga, we're all out of a job. He's very well aware of where he's at and where he sits. But if you look at the other side of Monterrey and Tony Mohamed, they're playing with house money. He took over for Diego Alonso, who was abysmal with the same team, same roster. They couldn't do anything. They squeaked in 8th place, 11 in a row. Undefeated for El Turco, Mohamed, and Monterrey. They are playing with house money. The way he's been able to come into this team and give them just a new sense of life, that new lease of life that they've gotten under Turco Mohamed. They can do no wrong. Even if they lose, it was never meant to be this season. It's what he does going forward next season. Like I said, it's house money compared to Miguel Herrera, where he's always under a microscope, and now the aforementioned scheduling of Monterrey and everything they have to deal with, and they get to close this game out at home in El Estadio Azteca. All the pressures on Miguel Herrera, especially because if you think about it, he's not played his best soccer this Liga, his best football this Liga. If we look at the second half at home against Tigres in the first leg, they were dominated. The second half away against Tigres that they ended up advancing, they were dominated. The first game in Morelia, they were dominated. The second half against Morelia in the Azteca, they were dominated, but they keep finding ways. But no doubt the pressure is on Miguel Herrera in this Club America.
Herc, man, I know that you played for Tigres, but there's no pressure on Rayados, on Turco. He's lost 2 finals with Monterrey. Surely the Rayados fans have some level of demand.
Oh, yes, but if you're asking me with more pressure, anytime you have Club America and Miguel Herrera, it's magnified, and you know this. You know this. If they lose, they're going to be talking again. the no 6 seed has ever won Liga MX. Miguel Herrera again loses the final. Miguel Herrera this. It's going to be Club America that. It's going to be where did it go wrong? It's going to be is Roger Martinez the right fit? Federico Viñas was the right signing. Nico Castillo, why did you make him the second highest paid player in Liga MX? You were closing out at home against an 8th seed, against a team that in 17 days played maybe 4 times that you could have easily tuned out, easily gotten away with, and you didn't. It's going to be all that and more for Miguel Herrera and Club America, as it always is, as it always should be, because you've mentioned it before. They are the biggest team in Mexico, in Liga MX. They have a chance right now to keep surpassing Chivas in what is the title race. Anytime America's involved, it's always going to be America, and you know this.
Turco Mohamed, Piojo Herrera. Who are you choosing in a final? Who has the advantage in this final when it comes to the technical area?
Wow, it'd be tough to say that Turco Mohamed, who knocked out the super leader in Santos, I mean, goleó Santos, 5 goals at home, then went away to Santos, a very complicated place, and did the business. And then against Necaxa, another team that plays very well, neutralized their very offensive style of play. The 2 best offensive teams, Tony El Turco Mohamed neutralized them. He's done no wrong in Liguilla. But if there's one thing I've learned is never to bet against Miguel Herrera and against this Club America, this animal de Liguillas, as Hector Huerta, our colega, has dubbed them. That's what they are. They know what it's about. And I will say this America team, they are getting older. If you look at that back line, how much more are we going to see out of guys like Paul Aguilar? You know, how much longer can we see this America team under Miguel Herrera do it? This may be their last chance. It's really an all or nothing type of affair. And I don't think when it's like that, when the chips are down, you can really bet against Miguel Herrera.
Herc, is Miguel Herrera the best manager in Liga MX? You already know my vote.
No, I don't think he's the best manager. It's tough for me to go against Ricardo Ferretti, El Tuca Ferretti, and all he's done. He's the Sir Alex Ferguson of Mexican soccer. Right now,
just admit it, you're still scared of
left,
Tuca. You're still scared of Tuca.
I'll be scared of Tuca till the day I go into my grave because he's that type of legendary coach. He's one of these Bobby Knight figures who commands respect whether you want to admit it or not. But Miguel Herrera, what he's done, he's the best coach in America's history by far in my eyes, what he's been able to do, especially in the time he's been able to do it with the Team of the Década, breathing over them, which is Tigres, a team of the decade, and he's still been able to amass everything he's amassed. It's Miguel Herrera for Club America. He's the best coach in their history. But if we're talking about bigger picture, there's a reason Tigres is, the team of the decade. There's a reason Tigres has gotten so many titles in this last decade, done what they've done, gotten to so many finals, played against the likes of River Plate, been to, intercontinental finals like the CONCACAF Champions League finals, I think 3 times in a row now. It's because of Tuca Ferretti. Now, winning them is another story, but you don't get there by chance.
Fair enough. We'll leave it at that for today. Liga MX Apertura finals begin on December 26th at Estadio BBVA in Monterrey.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.